Hey, welcome to Hard to Guard TV. I'm Edgar Burgos. We're here for another episode, and I got a great guest, a friend, somebody who I look up to, Samir Hernandez, Vice President of Slam, the iconic basketball label. What's up, Samir?
What up? What up?
How you holding up? We trying over here. We trying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How you holding up during this pandemic?
Man, you know, we're trying to find a sense of balance, sense of normalcy. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but it also reminds you of what's important. You know what I mean? From a family perspective, from a work perspective. You know, it's if you didn't have a work-life balance before, you know, you definitely have it now. You know what I mean? So it's positive in a way that I can spend time with my family, and then it's also eye-opening to see, you know, what's really important and, you know, the reason why you do things and all that. So it's been tough, it's been challenging, but being able to spend this time with my family, that's been like the silver lining.
Yeah, I hear that. So one of the things I could honestly say, I first noticed you and met you when I was working with the Knicks, and you was working at with Nike and Jordan. And I was like, who's this guy that's always around? Like, he's always around. I don't know who this guy is. And, you know, we probably, we chopped it up a couple of times. And then in the last couple of years, we got, cooler, and, we talk more and stuff like that. And somebody who I've actually got to know and appreciate, someone I call a friend, and somebody who, if I have an idea, I definitely, love bouncing the idea off of you because of the knowledge you have in the game. And, one of the first things I want to say is you're originally from LA, South Central.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. And, we're going to get right to it. You went to Dominguez High School.
Yep. Don's for life. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that whole, how was it growing up in LA?
Oh, man, it's home. You know what I mean? LA is one of the most interesting places. It's like a beautiful city. But it's so close, but it's so far from, based upon how it is, you know what I'm saying? So you have the hoods, you know what I'm saying? You have the inner city, and literally you could go across a major street, excuse me, and you could be in a whole different area, and you just would never know. You know what I mean? People don't, unless you live in LA, you don't know that La Brea separates the jungle from Baldwin Hills. You know what I'm saying? The jungles, excuse me. So the jungles is a thing in Training Day when the dudes is clapping pigeons and stuff like that. And Baldwin Hills, they made a reality TV series off of that. So it's basically hey, I crossed 8th Avenue, and then you just in two totally different neighborhoods. And that's kind of the cool thing about LA is that you can kind of go from place to place and experience a whole different vibe, a whole different culture. But it's also the very interesting part about it is because, as close as you are, you're still separated. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. That's kind of what makes LA very special. That's what makes LA a place where, one day I'll eventually get back to. You know what I mean? That's home. That's home. But, we're in a big city now, and I'm not mad at being out here either. New York ain't treating me bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you played ball at Dominguez, and what made you love start playing basketball and find out I love this game?
Well, I was always a big kid. I was big, goofy, you know what I mean, just a big dude. And it wasn't until most people got stories about Michael Jordan made them fall in love with the game. If you're in LA, it's Showtime, Lakers, Magic Johnson. But for me, it was Shaq. You know what I'm saying? So when Shaq came out, when he was a rookie in 1993, I remember watching Shaq and man, this dude, it was either back then, it was either yo, you're big and goofy, you know what I mean? You can't chew gum and walk at the same time, or you're big and mean, you know what I mean? And I was, I wasn't really neither, but Shaq was big and fun and dominant, and he made it fun to be, big, you know what I'm saying? It made it acceptable to be that. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, and I love the way he played. He was dunking on everybody. I didn't have no hops, you know what I'm saying? But I could do a drop step and tap on somebody at 10 years old, then 11 years old. I wasn't even that 1993. I was younger than that. But yeah, I love Shaq, and so that made me literally fall in love with the game, and see that I could use my size to be like to make an impact, a positive impact. So that was like really what caused that, and then I kind of started hooping a little bit. I joined the travel team, and then I just fell in love with it, man. It was just what I did. It became such a large part of me, and it exposed me to so much of the world that like I give that game a lot of thanks for being able to put me in the position, where I am today.
Well, in high school, you actually played with a top draft pick who became was a teammate of yours, who was also a big man by the name of Tyson Chandler.
Yeah. I told him everything. Everything.
How was that experience, knowing that you was playing with probably he obviously went straight to the NBA. How was that whole process from you seeing it for him?
It was an experience. You know what I mean? I think our time at Dominguez was very, very unique. Prior to LeBron, we were like 1 year before the pop of high school like popularity on the mainstream. But like we would go places and we would sell out arenas. You know what I mean? We would literally sell out arenas. We would go to St. Louis, sell out. We would go to Philly and sell out. Obviously in LA, we would sell out because people would come and want to see, obviously Tyson, but we were a great team as well. We had a lot of great people on that team.
Nationally ranked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were number one team in the country. His junior year, my sophomore year, we were number one team in the country. And then his junior year, my senior year, we were still a top 10 team. And, to this day, we're still in the group chat. We're always talking about these stories and, talking about what it was like, during that time and kind of reliving those moments because it was special. I think we may have been the first, I believe we were probably the first team from California to win a national championship in the modern day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We set a standard. We played the Oak Hills. We played everybody. We didn't dodge nobody. So it was, it was a beautiful moment of being able to see, Tyson and the exposure and really the challenges and the opportunities and things like that going from high school to the NBA was a very unique experience that at the time you kind of took for granted. But, we look back at it now and we realize how much of a special moment it was. And, this year is literally our 20-year anniversary for winning that national championship. So it was, it was a special time.
Yeah, for a high school player at that time, you're young and you're traveling all around the country. How was it for you, and how was it for your family seeing you going all around the country, being the number one team in the whole in high school basketball?
Oh, dude, we was hood superstars, bro. Hood superstars. So like we would have like local papers depending on where you were. Where I was from in LA, we had the Wave, and it was no better film. I remember after we won like the regional championship, I think we go to state. Like there was me, I was on the cover with like one of my other teammates. It may have been Trayvon Free, who's actually now, believe it or not, one of the hottest writers in Hollywood, has a couple of Emmys. Kid from Compton on Dominguez, and now an Emmy winning writer. That's a story for another day, but he's doing his thing. I think it was we were like chest bumping after the win or something like that. And so to open up your door and to see yourself on that paper, and then everybody on your block see yourself on the paper. I mean, that's what more can you ask for as a kid? Growing up to be able to see yourself doing great things. And for that, it offered us different opportunities, different exposure that not a lot of kids had that opportunity to see. Not a lot of people had an opportunity to be able to go see the country, be able to go. I think we went to City Hall a bunch of times. They gave us a lot of like awards and stuff like that. Things that you take for granted were things that were the norm. And, for that, like, you're forever grateful because that becomes a pivotal moment in life.
Yeah. So now, you leave, you're done with Dominguez, and then you go to Cal State Fullerton. How did that shape you?
Oh, dude, it was huge. Before I went to Fullerton, so I made 2 stops. So I went from I'll tell you my whole story. So I went from Dominguez, and then my senior year I went to Sarah. So our team kind of broke up my senior year. And we all went our separate ways. Ended up going to Sarah, played with my man Pooh Jeter, who played for the Kings for a little bit and played overseas. He's still playing to this day. He's had a very long professional career. And then from there, I ended up going to NAIA school. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was what it was. And so I went to NAIA school. Wasn't the best experience, but I learned a lot. I had a lot of relationships I still keep to this day from that moment. Then I went to play JC, played well there, and then I decided, yo, I think I just want to hang them up, you know what I mean, and be able to live a good life, you know what I mean, be able to live a normal life and start to work for things. And so then I went to Cal State Fullerton, where, you know, I started to work, you know what I mean. I got my first real job from some of my friends that I knew actually put me in and plugged me into the bank. I worked for Wells Fargo, and finished school, went to church out there. I was a big church kid. Still am a big Christian man, you know what I mean? So went to church out there, went to school, went to work, and then, you know, we're here today, you know what I mean? It's a lot in between, but that's kind of how that flowed. So
when you did banking life, like, how was banking life?
Hey, every day I was in there, I looked at it as like on the job training, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't wake up going, yo, one day I want to work at a bank, you know what I mean? But at the moment, I was like, yo, I need a job. My homeboy worked for the bank, and he made it look like, you know, amazing. I was like, yo, give me one of the bank jobs. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, yo, we got to tell her you're going to make $10 an hour. I was like, $10 an hour? Let's go. You know, and so signed up there. And I mean, it was, to be honest with you, it showed me what was possible. You know what I'm saying? Like this kid from South Central LA, you know, literally grew up, homies, kids before the age of 15, you know, shot dead. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've had my house shot up, had my house broken into, you know, a lot of traumatic things. And to be able to go from there to like, yo, working at a bank, for me was like, wow, it showed me what was possible even at that young age. And like, it also showed me, you know, I'll never forget this. And it still sticks to me to this day, because every new challenge gives you something. And I always remember back, I was like, yo, I can't, excuse me, I can't type, and I don't know how to write a check. I don't think I could work at a bank. I don't want to do it. And they was like, no, you could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy. You could figure it out. And, you know, I learned, and I took on the challenge, and I became, you know, for that, the best at that. You know what I mean? And that taught me then, and that's kind of set the tone then of what was to come. Like, even with taking new roles with Jordan or Nike, or taking new roles, excuse me, with you know, even with Slam, I'm like, well, I've never done that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm in a whole new field. You know, I don't know what's going on, but I was like, I remember when I couldn't write a check, but you know, we tackled that so we could tackle this. You know what I mean? So that time at the bank showed me what was possible. Boring as hell, though. I'm gonna tell you that. It's hella boring, but it set a groundwork for me to be able to grow from, to be able to build from.
And then you worked your way to vice president.
Yeah. I ended up being a VP in community banking. So yeah, it was dope. It was dope. It was a lot of you know, it was a lot of accomplishments.
So now you know you're done with banking, and you know you're trying to figure out the next move. Now let's talk about that, and how did you get to your next major move?
So obviously you kind of stick with your relationships, right? Stick with your people. And I'll never forget, like, you know, I'm always trying to figure it out. You know, I always had like a entrepreneur mindset, and always looking for what's next. And one of the things, you know, for me, and even a lot of times with like kids from the inner city, there's really no blueprint to follow. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. Like, my parents didn't work traditional corporate jobs, you know what I mean? And there's nobody really around you typically who's like, okay, this person's exec VP, they're gonna give you, you know, they're gonna give you the steps and the plays and this and that. So, you know, for me, I'm like, all right, I gotta figure this out. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and things turn out okay. And so I remember kind of like being with some of my homies at Hoop. Tyson's one of them. And I always remember when I was at Dominguez, we used to always have reps, like Nike reps that would be around, obviously, because we were, you know, who we were. And I was like, yo, when I get older, when I get done playing basketball, I'm gonna be a rep. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, I was like, that's gonna be my goal to get old. When I get older, I want to be a rep. That's my dream job. And so, like, that opportunity presented itself. You know, I'll never forget, man. My Wayne Pinckney, who's a good brother of mine, one of the most respected,
one of the best people on this planet.
Man, amazing dude. I owe, when a lot of dudes was trying to count me out, you know what I'm saying? Wayne always stood there and, was there as a shoulder to lean on, as an ear, you know what I'm saying, to be able to talk to, and always give advice, and, good, bad, and different. I have high respect for Wayne, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was like, yo, I know you kind of wanted to work for Nike, because I voiced, I'm saying, hey, I'm a VP at the bank. Do you guys hire externally? They're like, yo, we don't got nothing here. But it's like, yo, Jordan has something. Would you be willing to move? And I was like, sign me up. Let's go. And so, that kind of, that was like the process. And, I was lucky enough to have a lot of good relationships with folks who were able to vouch for me, you know what I mean? And who were able to go, yo, you should give this guy a shot. And because of that, and because of having Wayne there to be able to kind of lead and guide, I was able to have some success and be able to transition to that role in Jordan in sports marketing.
How was it feeling when you got the call that they're bringing you in?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you how things work, right? Let me get some water. Hold on one second. So I'm gonna tell you how things work. How crazy. I think that your steps are ordered. You know what I'm saying? Your things are preordained. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was working at Wells Fargo. I kind of got to my end. I was like, yo, I don't want to be here no more. I don't know what's next, but I know I don't want to be here no more. And so during that time, I was interviewing for Nike, and this whole interview process was probably about 6 months long. I'll be real with you. I was like, man, I don't know if this thing gonna come around. But I knew that I had enough of Wells Fargo. Like I was done. And I was like, yo, I had the day. So I was like, yo, I need to have some time to kind of figure out what my next steps are. And the day that I came back, I set a meeting with who was in my, he's a mentor of mine, but also I reported to him. And I made up my mind that I was going to quit. I was going to put in my 2 weeks regardless. Mm-hmm. And that same day, I got a call from HR at Nike, and it was like, hey, do you have a minute to talk? And literally, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And an hour before I was going to tell my manager that I was going to quit, I was done with it, was the moment that they told me I got my job. And it was just like, that was like ordained, you know what I'm saying, God's plan. And you know what I mean? Like, took you to a point where you don't want to look back in order that you could take that leap and move forward. You know what I'm saying? And I just never forget, like, being in the car. I remember I was in my car, I drove around the corner, and she told me I had the job. And I was just like, it was unbelievable, because it was something that, like, I was like, yo, this is wild. Like, my life's about to change. I'm about to move to New York. I'm about to leave my family. I'm about to, like, do some dope stuff. Like, and I didn't know what was in store. I was more nervous than anything. It was like, yo, I don't know if they'll like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't know if I can write a check. I can't do it. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's make these moves. And that was I remember that day, kind of replaying that in my mind is just like, yo, it's crazy. It was crazy. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful moment. I actually took a picture of me, like, signing my offer letter, which was dope. It was super dope.
So now, you moved to New York. Do you say to yourself, okay, obviously, you could do the job. What was the job that you had to do? I know, just explain that. I know what you was doing, but the people are going to watch.
It's called sports marketing. This is a sports marketing field rep, athlete representative, whatever you want to call it. So basically how it works is whenever an athlete signs to, gets a sneaker deal, they get assigned a representative from the sneaker deal. And pretty much your job is to be the liaison between the brand and the athlete and the athlete and the brand. So whatever the athlete, his team, his agency, whatever needs from you, you facilitate that to the best of your ability. You're able to execute on contractual obligations, right? So if they go, hey, in the contract, you say we need to do so many appearances or whatever, we make sure that happens, make sure they get paid. And on our side, sneaker releases come around, whatever cross categories coming around, like you advocate for your athlete, or you facilitate and ask for the athletes, right? So not every athlete is, a superstar, but sometimes like, yo, this dude may fit in the running, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of, that was kind of the goal. And so for me, as opposed to, like, I always look what I can do more, you know what I mean? At the beginning, it was such a, this is a whole nother story. I know we don't have that much time to be able to go through it. But it was such a, for me, even a rocky road in the beginning. But it also got me to a place where I can learn more, where I can integrate within different functions. And so I would work with marketing, I would work with product, I would work with marketing, product, you know, the local brand teams, the global brand teams, the geos, you know, whatever touched the athlete, which was everything. I made it a point to be able to integrate within them so I can be able to learn and do, you know, learn what they do, you know what I mean, and add it to my arsenal. So it was a super dope experience, and it's something that really helped to build on the foundation that was already set. So, you know, that's what I did, and you know, I like to say I did it pretty well.
How many players were you repping at that time during the years that you was there?
So it probably got up to like probably at one point 40 people, and then it probably got to a point where I wanted to get down and kind of get a little bit more lean and mean. But the difference, one of the cool things about that role was that I was able to work across multiple sports. So I built out what baseball looked like, right? So when you see, you know, all the Jordan baseball athletes showing their shoes on Instagram, if it's Dexter Fowler, CC, Mookie, Manny showing their dope cleats, that was something that I worked to build out, right? And something that was also not only built out there, but also scaled across the football and other sports, and really what that looked like. So I built out the baseball business. I covered pretty much the East Coast for basketball, and then that actually ended up covering like probably about half of the basketball business, if not more. I also had Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, which was, you know, learning the boxing world was a hell of a experience, you know what I mean? So kind of touched a little bit of that, touched a little bit of football, just a little bit of everything. And that gave me a lot of exposure and a lot of opportunity to see, yo, this is how the sports world works. Internally, externally, this stuff in Africa, this stuff in China, this stuff in Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, you know what I mean? So it was a fantastic opportunity that really set me on a positive trajectory to, you know, get to the point where I'm, you know, rolling right now.
Yeah, one of the great things is that, you know, you're taking this job and, you know, you're supposed to be helping the players, leaning on them. But then actually as the years go by, you guys form a relationship, they start leaning on you.
Yeah.
And for advice and stuff like that. So how is that, like the whole building the relationships, and then where it became like such a trust where even now today you become very good friends with some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's always kind of been what it's about, right? So because of my friendships, and it always didn't work for me, right? It always didn't work in my favor. But I mean, it was who I was. Like, I look out for people to the best of my ability, right? And, you know, I was always a little bit pro player, you know what I'm saying? So I would do everything that I could to be able to make sure that they were in a good position. You know, one time, you know, Eugene Rim, who works at Catch. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's one of the great dude, needless to say. We were having a conversation, and you know, we were in a group conversation. He said something that sticks with me to this day. And he was like, yo, I don't want to be in the business of no. I want to be in the business of yes. You know what I'm saying? And with that, I was in the business of, you know, some people take pride in saying no because they have power to tell people what to do or what not to do. Yeah, that shit is cool, but, you know, I would rather make people happy, and I would rather, you know, put people in a position to succeed. And so, like, I was always in a position of, or try to put myself in a position of yes, because I knew that if people were happy, people will be engaged, and engaged people are like focused people, and engaged people do dope stuff, and engaged people are willing to, you know, rock with you when you need to rock with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even to this day, to the best of my ability, I do everything that I can, even if it doesn't, you know, have an immediate payoff. I know that doing right by people will always come back. You know what I'm saying? And it will always, because it's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Looking out for people, connecting people. And if I can't do it, I'll do it. And if I can't do it, you know what I'm saying? About, yo, I'm sorry, I can't do it, whatever it may be. And even to this day, I'm kind of learning how to better frame and get better and communicate better and all that stuff. But like, that's what it's really always been. And that's what's helped me with these guys who I still talk to today, and grow those relationships, because they know that at the end of the day, I have their best interests at heart. At the end of the day, I'll do whatever I can to be able to, you know, look out for them, put them in a good position, and give them something that they you know, that they may not even be expecting, you know what I'm saying? But also, even in addition to just giving stuff, like, you know, you genuinely care about people, you know what I'm saying? You checking on people. I have my man's who was, you know, he's on the team that had the, you know, a COVID breakout in baseball. I'm like, yo, you know, I'm gonna check on you like you my people, because you are my people. You know what I mean? Not on some, yo, what can we do together? What can, you know, I need this, I need that. It's like, no. You all right? You know what I'm saying? But I actually care, because I know, you know what I'm saying, real life happens. And that is first and foremost what's the most important, aside from all, you know, this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I know one of the good friendships that you have is with you know, you're cool with Melo, but you're really cool with CC Sabathia. You became really cool with CC Sabathia. And last year, when you guys when his last season, and he, you know, everyone knows he's very animated on the field. And one time, you know, Aaron Boone was like, you know, called everybody savages, and right away, you and him, the next day, I saw savages t-shirts. You want to explain how that happened? That's when your marketing arm came into play.
Yeah. So my big thing was like, yo, let's, you know, actually it was a beta test. I was like, you know, what does this thing look like to be able to react quick, right? And I'm not going to give away. Well, I mean, you know, I could give away the ingredients. I mean, you still got to be able to put it together. You know what I mean? But what does it look like to be able to react quickly to the market when something happens, right? And give the fans something that they want. And I was like, yo, let me try this out. I'm probably gonna get a cease and desist, but you know, whatever. Let's see if it works. So I had a fire design team. My guys at Odd Sense, a young design team that was dope. They put together the logo. They hand drew the logo to be able to make it, you know, look like the it's a name for it, but the Yankee script logo. And you know, CC would looked out, man. It was a huge look. You know what I'm saying? Like he took a box of shirts in the locker room, and then the rest was history. Like it took off. A-Rod wore it on Fox Sports. He was like, you know, he was talking about who's going to win the series, and he pulls out this shirt. Like, oh man, it was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? To be able to go from literally an idea and a concept to be able to see this thing kind of blow up and become a moment. And then it was like, aha, you know, now we know how it works. And it was, you know, you learn a lot, right? So, you know, what do you need to do? What assets do you need? How are you doing the marketing? How are you doing the pushing? How are you making sure that people find you on the internet and not find somebody else on the internet that's copying you? You know what I'm saying? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Then you work, you know, production stuff. You know what I'm saying? How are we getting it out? Production issues. How are you managing it? How are you not managing it? You know what I'm saying? So, but it was a phenomenal beta test that, you know, we got some special things cooking to be able to take those learnings and go to the next level. So it was super cool, super cool experience. But more than anything, like, it was a big win to say, you know, we took something that was from ideation to execution, and, you know, we was cooking a little bit on it. So, you know, it was a beautiful thing.
How many total shirts in a couple of months did you guys wind up selling?
A lot. A lot. Yeah, a lot. We could have sold more though. We could have sold more, but we sold a lot. It was cool. It was cool. But I'm gonna tell you what else was cool, man. We was able to, man, CC and Amber, you know, allowed me to be able to make them a shirt to commemorate his retirement. And as cool as the Savages piece was, it was even cooler to see, you know, Margie was his mom, and Amber and the family, you know what I'm saying, and some of the Yankees wear that design on the day that was like his last day at Yankee Stadium. You know what I'm saying? And to see that like come to life, and to see your shirt on the big screen in Yankee Stadium, and, you know, oh man, it was to be able to be a part of that moment in that way, like aside from sales and numbers and everything pushing, but to be able to see that come to life in that way, and be a part of that huge moment for, you know, who's going to be a, you know, Hall of Fame pitcher, that means so much to New York, and be a part of that ride in a way that, you know, it's just, you know, brings it all together. It's just, that was just, you know, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Something I'll always remember.
Yeah. So, you know, after, you know, you do that on your own, and now, you know, you're trying to figure out the next steps of, you know, the Samir journey, and you wind up with an iconic label, magazine label. How did that come about?
yeah, it's you know, God has a plan, right? So I was like consulting, right? So in between my time in Nike and Slam, I was like just consulting, kind of like, all right, let me figure out what I could do. You know what I'm saying? Let me spread my wings a little bit. And so, you know, we made the t-shirts. I helped a couple athletes out. I worked with a couple brands, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of like get stuff rolling. Like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been corporate, you know, for 14 years, 8 years at Wells, 6 years at Nike. And, you know, now I'm like, all right, you know, I know a couple people. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a good buddy of mine, Jerron Smith, who's a great friend of mine, great person to have, you know, bounce things off of. He's like, yo, I don't know what you're doing, but, you know, the guys at Slam are starting a film studio, a production studio. And, you know, their first project, you know, they need a little bit of help with it. And it was a kid from Coney Island. And so, you know, we met. I was like, yo, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. Yeah, I've done this in film. I've done this in film. Now, one thing, I'm like, the only thing I've done in film is go to the movies and watch them. And so sorry guys if you're watching this. But so he's like, yo, you know, we're gonna need some help with marketing. We're gonna need some help, you know, with attaching an EP and things of that nature. And I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about this is that Coney and Chike, who directed the film, are, you know, they're good friends of mine. Those are my brothers, man. So like Coney's my man. Chike became my man, and like those are very good, very, very good people. And so when they were doing the film, they were like, yo, I'm doing this film on Stephan Marbury. And I was like, you know, I was kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? But I was like, you know, yeah, my man's whatever help you need. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. It's like, all right, if I can help, I can help. It's like, yo, can you get someone for us? And I was like, you know, there's like, oh, can you get Ray for us? And I was like, yeah, let me ask. And, you know, I was able to work out where Ray was able to carve out some time. And he has an amazing little segment piece where he's kind of talking about, because, you know, they have this really dope connection. He got game. They were traded for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like the story between Stephan Marbury and Ray Allen is so dope. Both 96 draft class. You know what I'm saying? Like they're tied at the hip. And so I played a part in being able to make this film come to life. And then on the back end, independent of these guys, they're like, hey, we need some help with marketing rollout and things of that nature. And so I came on to be able to like consult with what is known as RTG features. And so worked on that film. You know, I was you know, fortunate enough to be able to connect with KD and Rich Kleiman, to be able to, you know, work with them and bring them onto the film, which was a ultimate perfect marriage, especially with KD being in Brooklyn, being a huge, and Rich being a New York guy, both being huge fans of Stephan Marbury. It was like, yo, it just made sense. So we made that attachment happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, sorry to cut you off. I like how was that whole process when you called Rich and brought, you know, talked to KD about, like, hey, I got this project that maybe you guys want to jump on. How was that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like that. It's like, yo, you know, we are, you know, I want you to talk to the creators. You know, we think that you guys would be a good fit. If this is something that you're interested in, you know, we want to talk a little bit of the film business. You know what I'm saying? They're already in the film business. They're doing amazing things in the water. You know, they have, you know, at board, they have a lot of stuff going on. And Rich was very passionate about the project. He loved what was already going on. He loved the story of Stephan Marbury. You know what I mean? He loves New York City point guards. He's like, yo, this is something that, you know, we would love to be a part of. And so, you know, then began, you know, how do we make this thing come to life? And so we kind of went down to kick the ball down the field. And we were able to bring this thing to life and have 35 Ventures, Rich and KD be executive producers on a kid from Coney Island, which was beneficial for both parties, beneficial for the film. And what it really did was it helped to get that film and push that amazing piece of art out to the world, right? Out to the basketball world, and doing that in concert with Slam and kind of utilizing Slam's channels to be able to really market and push this thing out, got more eyeballs on it because it was a fire ass film. Like it It did great at Tribeca Film Festival. You know what I'm saying? It was, if you haven't watched it, it's on Netflix now. And it was just a dope project to be able to kick off with RPG. So when we kicked that thing off, and you know, we were blessed enough to be able to have Rich and KD come on, it was just the start of something very, very special.
So after, you know, that, you work on your next big project, which is obviously the unfortunate death of George Floyd, and everybody's out here, you know, trying to make change. You come up with I think is an iconic magazine cover with Melo and his son. How did that come
about? Yeah, so it was you know, it started as an idea. You know, working with Slam, one of the things that was cool enough is that they understand that, you know, the voice that they have, they understand that the power that they have, and they understand the platform that they have. You know what I'm saying? And so the idea was brought up to create an issue in which honored the struggle of the African American through the lens of the basketball player, right? Through the lens of sport, because one thing that you can track, obviously you have, you know, the things that, you know, our predecessors went through, but you also, you know, in you know, running a parallel path was the like the journey of the athlete through this whole piece, right? And that journey is so continuous, is continuing even to this day, right? So, you know, you look at what Bill Russell went through, you look at what Kareem went through, you look at what Spencer Haywood went through, you look at what Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf went through, you look at what Craig Hodges went through, you look at what Cheryl Swoops went through, right? And so we were, and then up until really what this modern day activism looks like, and really the trailblazer, you know, no pun intended, for that was Carmelo, right? There wouldn't, I would actually argue that there wouldn't be a cap if there wasn't for Melo. You know what I'm saying? Melo was the first person, the first superstar to take a stand and go, yo, this isn't right. You know what I'm saying? He went out there and he was protesting in Baltimore. I remember the first thing that he said was, you know, he wrote a post like, yo, I can't sleep if I don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that caught on, and then it made it okay to be an activist, to use your voice and use your platform for something other than, you know, selling sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Selling brands or whatnot. And he made it to start to do change. So when it, you know, when that moment came up, we decided that Melo, you know, this would not be right if we didn't have the current, you know, really trailblazer. I'm gonna say that again because that's what he did, leading the way for this magazine. And so we wrapped with Melo, reached out to him, worked to be able to kind of lock this down. Rondé was a big help with this. Rondé Garrett, Asani Swan was very big in bringing this to life. And Melo was like, yo, I'll do it, but you know, I want to have, you know, I want to be the editor. I want to have creative control of, you know, the story that is told. And we worked hand in hand from a creative aspect, from a storytelling aspect, from a layout aspect, to be able to bring this thing to life. Atiba was the photographer who took the photos. And when we saw those photos, we were like, yo, one thing that Melo said, he was like, yo, this thing needs to be powerful. It needs to be Slam's, he's like, you know, his words is like, it needs to be Slam's take on like Time magazine. It needs to be like that. It has to be something different, that's powerful, that's iconic. And he was like, it's not for me. He's like, it's for the generations to come. You know what I'm saying? Like the changes that come now aren't necessarily going to affect us. They're going to affect our kids, our children, our kids' kids. And so to be able to put that together with him and Cayenne, so we, you know, we came up with this idea, and it just ended up, coming to life. I mean, the team captured some great photos, and that ended up becoming what I think will end up being an iconic cover that really, you know, takes this moment and immortalizes it. And so, you know, it was great, and he supported it. It was on Good Morning America. One of the dopest things I think was that all the proceeds from the magazine and from the merch went to the Social Change Fund, which is the fund that he, CP, and D Wade started, with the help of obviously Carmen, Asani, in partnership, not the help, in partnership and concert with Asani, Lisa, and Carmen, three of the most, you know, amazing women in sports. And, you know, every single proceed, every dollar that was made, not even production. We didn't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, we covered the cost of production, and all the dollars went to social change fund. And I think that was fantastic. And, you know, Slam really put their money where their mouth was. And, you know, we walked the walk, talked the talk, and all that other fun stuff. So it still is a great moment. And it's not over. You know what I'm saying? Like, the magazine is there, it's still available for sale. But more importantly, the movement and the idea of activism and social activism in today's day, it's not done. You know what I'm saying? There's still change that needs to be made. And, you know, the beautiful thing is that we have a lot of athletes who are focused on bringing that change to life and making that change happen.
So, you know, obviously in this time, obviously you're an idea guy, and I know you're always thinking. How much do you talk about this with, you know, the guys, you know, the CCs, the, you know, Melos, the, you know, Dexter Fowlers, and, you know, and Tyson, you know, about, hey, what can we do to make a difference?
We talk all the time, man. We talk all the time. You know, it's on. You know, it's on. I don't talk to every guy, right? I mean, I was able to just have you know, there was a kid who was shot in Los Angeles, not too far from where I grew up. His name was, I believe, Samaja. And, you know, it's so many things that need to change, right? And in order to do that, like, we have to be able to come together. And I was blessed enough to had a conversation out the blue the other day with Master P, like, yo, what does this look like? You know, what's the action item? Because I think he spoke at his vigil, and he's very, like, involved with what's going on in LA. And, you know, now the whole thing is, all right, now that everyone knows that something must change, you know, not only in how we are, you know, policed and all those fun things, but now how do we work together to be able to begin to heal our own community who, you know, who have become victims of, you know, systemic racism, you know what I'm saying? And so now those are the thoughts. It's like, yo, now that we've let our voice be heard, how then do we take action to be able to create real change, lasting change that does, you know, going back to Melo's words, helps the next generation and puts them in a better seat than we had, so that, you know, people like you and I are no longer the exception to the rule, but we are, you know, a part of a movement of greatness for our communities.
Nice. And what's the next, what do you think is the next steps for, you know, you and Slam and moving on, you know, to try to make more of an impact?
You know, we're working on a few things. I mean, we're in the planning stages. You know, we're having conversations. Obviously, one of the big things that are coming up is voting. You know what I mean? I think that this election is going to be humongous. It's the most important election in modern day history. And, you know, we have to be able to figure out how we can engage the young voter, the Black kid, you know what I'm saying, who thinks that their vote doesn't matter, or who hasn't been educated. You know what I mean? Voter suppression is a very real thing. So, you know, we're talking around how we could bring that to life. You know, obviously we want to continue to tell stories of you know, of positivity, but also of, you know, continue to keep this thing top of mind so that it just doesn't go away. So we're still in the planning stages, right? So the George Floyd piece was a piece where we go, you know, we have this moment to be able to capture this time and tell these stories. And now it's like, all right, now how do we put some change to it? How do we use our platform for change? And right now that's what we're in the lab trying to figure out. And, you know, I think that we have a few ideas where we can partner with some good people to be able to make some great things happen. So, you know, stay tuned.
And so somebody who you also played with back in LA, who's, you know, in the fight, and somebody, I don't know if you consider a mentor, but, you know, a friend, is Baron Davis, who actually I spoke with the other day for like an hour. And, you know, Baron could just go. So,
you already know.
So can you talk about that relationship? And, you know, I know he's coming out with a company right now? It has, have you guys, you've asked for help, or like, you guys have talked about it, and like, like you talk about your relationship?
No, Baron is like the OG. You know what I'm saying? Baron for Los Angeles basketball. Like the one cool thing about Baron, like Baron from the hood, Baron from South Central. You know what I'm saying? But he went to school in Santa Monica, and because of that, he went to like a very fluent private school, Crossroads. And so because of that, it gave him like this and I did kind of something similar, right? But it gives you this, I mean, I'm not Baron, but I'm saying, the experience. It gives you this very interesting take on having your ear to the streets, but also having these relationships in Hollywood and with like, in a world that is different from where you come from. You know what I mean? And so because of that, like Baron was able to have an impact on Los Angeles as a whole that most people weren't able to have. He would come back when I was in 8th grade, and kind of even like a lot of my peer group in LA, like he would come back, he would coach, he would give back, he would play, you know what I'm saying? He was Drew League. He was Drew League before Drew League was sexy. He was Drew League when Drew League was at Drew Middle School, and it was literally like wooden backboards, and one court was like 6 inches lower than the other, and dudes were literally getting this hot, sweaty gym with 3-level bleachers and just go to work. And I remember sitting like 13 years old, sitting in the bleachers watching Baron play, like, man, this dude it's Baron Davis, you know what I'm saying? And so for that, like he was kind of like the forebearer of the modern Los Angeles athlete, you know what I'm saying? He kind of took it from old school short shorts, and he was like, the Fab Five of LA hoop scene, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So I've been, I should say, lucky enough to still connect with him, during this point in my career, and be able to learn from him and kind of glean wisdom and knowledge from him. And it's a matter of time. And a good friend of mine, Pooh Jetter, does a lot of work with him, and a lot of people in LA are really coming together. And so there's going to be opportunities to be able to impact the culture from a positive standpoint. And Baron's already doing it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what can be done together, what can be done to be able to impact LA, and also, the culture nationwide. And also, one thing, we say the culture, we say that very loosely. I think we need to start talking community. You know what I mean? Culture is great. I think community is better, right? And start being able to affect the community nationwide for our people. And so, I love Baron. I love the things that he's doing with Black Santa, with his startups. You know what I mean? Being a positive with Slick, with big summits. He's doing some amazing things. And so, there's going to be opportunity to grow, opportunity to change. And he's definitely a change leader and a thought leader for our culture.
So, you working at Nike, working at Slam, where do you think the world of digital and the importance of player and guys like yourself is going within the next 2 to 3 years?
Man, I think that one of the things with quarantine, right, and this is obviously opinion, this moved us forward, probably 10 years, right? Digital is literally how we interact. It's how we do business. It's how media is now changing, right? I mean, Tiger King filmed its whole follow-up series on Zoom. You know what I'm saying? You look at probably one of the biggest shows during this time, which was Some Good News, is a total all digital play, remote play. You look at the work that Uninterrupted did with the graduation. All these things are all digital. People are now going to the doctor, like telehealth and digital visits are now the thing. People are no longer going to the offices, and they're saying, well, do we need to go back to offices? Can we just do this thing all, remotely? And now you're seeing so many lifts in, how people are now consuming content, how people are now distributing content, long form, short form, things of that nature. So there's so much more of a premium. I think one of the beautiful things, even as a Black creative or a Black executive or whatever it is that you, whatever term you want to look like, you want to talk about. One thing that this moment has now caused is to be able to open up doors for Black creatives, right? So people like Trayvon Free, who was my teammate in high school, it makes it easier for the great work that he's doing to now be distributed, which then opens up more doors for Black producers and Black directors. You know what I mean? People like Coney and Chike, where they were like, yo, you know, working to knock on the door to get the features, the feature projects, and be able to do more than docs and all that fun stuff. Now people are knocking on their doors, right? Because now it's provided us an opportunity to be able to have a voice, right? But I think that, you know, now it's still, you know, in the beginning, it was about the kind of switching to what the business looks like. It was like the big pivot. What does this thing look like without, you know, physical activations for at least another year? So how can we do digital activations? How can we bring to the market what the people want without knowing what they want? But it's going to take thought leaders who are willing to take risks. It's going to take creatives who are willing to think outside the box. And it's going to take companies that have, you know, have balls to take risks, because at this point, if you don't have that ability to take risk and do something different, you're not going to survive. So, you know, it's literally a moment of evolution. It's a moment of like fast forward. It's a moment of like, yo, you figure it out, or you may not survive. Your business may not survive. So, but I think that, you know, just like anything, people will adjust. Amazing things will come out of it. When we get back to our normal, it won't be the normal that we knew, but it will be a new normal that will, you know, that would have propelled us as a community forward and able to make a larger impact and do dope things.
Nice. And then my last question: what would you tell 21-year-old Samir Hernandez?
What I tell that dude? I would tell him a few things. I would tell him that everything is going to be all right. I would tell him, don't worry. You know what I'm saying? I would tell him, don't worry so much. I would tell him that you know, your future is going to be better than your past. You know what I'm saying? And I would tell him, you know, to be able to treat everyone with respect and with empathy, and with love. And that, you know, if you do that, then everything is going to be all right. And I think that everything else will take care of itself. You know what I mean?
Samir, so if people want to find you, where can they find you? LinkedIn, Instagram, where can they find you? Yeah,
LinkedIn, man, it's Samir Hernandez. Instagram, Samir for GTG. Twitter, Samir for GTG. I haven't tweeted in I don't know how long, but you know, whatever. I'm there. Yeah,
I started getting my tweet game back up.
Yeah, I need to get my tweet game up, bro. You look at some people's Twitters is popping, man. Twitter, I sound like an old man.
They're doing some smart things over there.
Oh, Twitter's doing a great job, man. TJ over there at Twitter is cooking, man.
Yeah, TJ. I've talked to TJ twice. Very good dude. You probably know him way more than I do, but good guy. Very good guy. Great
guy. They're doing some amazing things at Twitter. I just called it Twitters. But yeah, Twitter's popping. But yeah, Samir for GTG. I don't know how great of a follow I'll be, but you know, whatever. Maybe I'll get a blue check one day. You know what I mean? make it work.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, man. You know, and like I said, once again, you know, I appreciate you as a friend. I appreciate you as somebody I can call and just say, hey, I got an idea, and you're always there to listen. And I just want to say thank you.
Of course, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on, dude. Congrats on Hard to Guard TV. Yo, what's the future? The future is Hard to Guard TV, Jay.
No, we're just trying to build content, different things. And, you know, and another thing, I know if you have some time, we're actually doing something at the end of the month. I'll tell you about that, this 3-day mini camp. And I think I told you maybe, you know, we're doing one of the things for the kids that we're doing is that they got to come on a Zoom where we're going to have a couple of NBA guys to talk to the guys. But I definitely like mentorship programs with a guy like yourself to talk to these kids, because especially now there'd probably be no summer, no school basketball, no sports or no nothing. So I'm kind of worried, like, you know, and they're going to pretty much they'll probably be at home, you know, school and home if school is open for who knows how long school is going to be open.
Yeah, I mean, but here's also the thing, man. Them kids need that, Jay. They need that because every kid don't got the same options as, you know, the more affluent people have. Like if you're not in school, you're not at home. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do? I mean, you at home. What you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like everybody don't got a good situation. So you providing that and providing an outlet, a positive outlet, and a positive example, and giving them unique experiences. Like those types of things save lives. You know what I mean? Those types of things change lives. And so, you know, kudos to you. And like I said, however I can help, you know what I mean? Just, you know, I'll help.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you. Samir, we'll talk. I'll give you a call later on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, later.
Peace.